What you're saying is he's part of a whole system that is not just Harvey Weinstein at all. It's like a lot of people are participating in this.
Yeah.
Like everybody.
Yeah. Which is a cult.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of the point.
Exactly. So
at what point do you recognize it's not just this creepy movie mogul? It's like everybody.
Well, very quickly.
Yeah.
When I flew home, I didn't go to any of the other premieres I had at Sundance. That time I went home. And I went to the management office of my managers at that time, and the head manager, they were very powerful. I said to him, you know, what happened? And I was like, you know, shell-shocked and like, bleh. And the first thing out of his mouth, God damn it, I just had an LA Times expose on him killed. He owes it to me not to do this.
Whoa.
And then I was like, that's when I started figuring out everybody was in on it.
Wow.
So then I said, I want the LAPD. I want to talk to a criminal attorney. I want somebody to tell me what my rights are here. And of course, you know, at that time, like if I'd come out and said in the press, like, please, like nothing would happen, obviously. It wasn't the time societally. Certainly is not the time there, not that it ever was. And so my old assistant, like 3 years ago, she's like, she's a lesbian, and the woman that came in that presented as working for the LAPD in a black suit, like kind of a short hair, like lesbian woman. She goes, you're an actress, you've done a nude scene, you're done. And she wasn't wrong. I knew she was right. I was like, yeah, you're right. So then I found out quickly that he was offering to anybody he'd done this to $1 million. That was his number, that was his standard offer. And you had to sign a non-disclosure agreement, which means you cannot talk to your therapist, your boyfriend, your mom, anybody in your life for the rest of your life. You cannot tell them this monstrous thing happened to you. Keep it inside. So I was like, I'm gonna trick him. So I played really dumb and requested $100,000 in return for not signing an NDA. So I became very quickly his #1 enemy, because then the movies I had done that hadn't come out yet hit, and I got very famous very quickly. So then I'm dangerous to him. So from that point on, your former guest, Anthony Pellicano, he was hired actually, to work with the Inquirer to keep dossiers on me. He bought off, this has also been exposed by Ronan Farrow, who I have my own quibbles with, maybe we'll get there, he would like say, from anyone from Graydon Carter to somebody, any journalist in America.
Graydon Carter, at the time, was the editor of Vanity Fair. Very powerful, very powerful.
Scumbag. So all these journalists from both, from anywhere from the New York Times to the Inquirer to People to Us Weekly, any of these kind of things, he would say, he would option one of their stories they'd written and say, I'm going to turn this into a movie. I'm going to win you a lot of Oscars. Oh, by the way, here's my hit list. If this person ever appears like on a red carpet or there's a paparazzi photo of them, write the most disparaging, disgusting stuff. He had a list. I was #1 on his list with a red line through my name. And he was not wrong. I am a very formidable enemy.
Yeah, well, you turned out to be. That's for sure.
I mean,
for him.
The thing is, it's like, dude, you built this.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be like this. You think I want to talk about this stuff? You think this is fun? On what planet is that fun?
Right.
No, but somebody has to do it. And I know, when I was 11, I used to study Napoleon, Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great's battle plans. I had like Venn diagrams on my walls and ceilings with threads and pins, like studying.
So
it
must be kind of weird when all this breaks and all these people are like, oh, I can't believe it. You know, this is like shocking.
There was a 16-year-old girl from Australia that tweeted at me. She goes, I'm 16 and I work in a coffee shop in Australia. This is after he was exposed. And even I knew.
So what do you make of this? Like,
what do you make of it? What are your thoughts and their morals?
I think I'm not a conspiracy nut. Well, first of all, I'm not sure what to make of some of it. Like the outlines, I don't know enough because I've never lived in that world. I've just brushed up against it.
But you know that he was protected by Hillary and Bill Clinton, that he was protected by David Boyce, Uber
100%. David Boyce is a true sleazeball.
I'm suing him in federal court.
You should.
And Black Cubed.
You should. You should.
So,
but it's like the Epstein
thing. He was protected by the Democratic Party.
Yeah, why?
That's what I don't understand. So for me, like, I think my opponents do not understand my motivations at all. They've tried to buy me off every way. In fact, Gavin Newsom's ex-wife, before the Weinstein story broke, because they knew I was coming, because I was hitting out for like 3 years at Hollywood, very publicly in the press.
Yeah.
And so people all of a sudden acted like I just spoke up the first day they read about Weinstein. I'm like, no, I've been rattling their cages because I had to train people in the media to listen to me differently. Because if they just saw me as an actress the first day, this would all not have worked. I had to set up a domino effect worldwide. I wanted to show people that if you fight and are strategic and very smart about it, you can cut off the head of rotten power instead of just biting at the ankles of the picket sign.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.